As a landscape painter, I'm very lucky to live in this area, in this rather lovely landscape. And this is a bit of a favoured field. I use the landscape just purely as a hanger to hang the activity of painting on. Much the same as life drawing is just a hanger for the activity of drawing, for the practice of drawing. Because actually what I'm after is the handling of paint, and not necessarily the subject matter. We're getting some lovely highlights from the trees there now against the shadow, but of course that will change any moment now. So I think it might be time to get my easel out and actually start doing stuff. The first thing I do in starting a painting is to lay out the underdrawing. To do that I use this medium 5 painting butter, which is also a dryer as well as gives the paint some body, and then start sketching out the elements of the painting. Because I'm slightly chaotic in the way that I do things, I like to cut down on the possibility of, confusing myself with too many colours. So I tend to stick to the same 9 colours plus white. You get used to how they work, what colour mixes with what to produce what, I'm using the painting butter to give the paint some body and texture, because I'm starting to build up a surface. You want to touch it, and I think that's what I like about painting, is when you want to touch it, more like a sculpture. Moving towards abstraction is a confidence thing for me. I've always felt the pull of being more literal, more illustrative, much stronger than being able to just break down an image, a view, into parts such as tonal values and shape, and abstracting it. And that is what I'm doing now, increasingly, and I think it's going to prove to be more of a direction for me in the future. So I think I've got about as much as I want from the subject here. I'm going to take it back to the studio after taking some quick photographs, I think, of the subject as reference, and then we'll go back to the studio and lay in some glazes. I'm back in the studio, and I will often, after a number of weeks or possibly even months, go back to a painting after I've time to live with them and work out what it is I want to do to them further. I've laid a glaze on this work here, just trying to, in a way, homogenise these various elements. There's this strip of blue here, which was actually oncoming weather, which I needed to knock back a bit because it was too strong. And then I'm just ragging off. By just loving the nature of paint, I was able to sort of loosen this ridiculous grip I had and take the brakes off, and just paint as I wanted. And it gave me a sense of freedom and a sense of enjoyment again, which is why I started painting in the first place, because I got freedom from it. And I think it's ridiculous that somehow I lost that, but lose it I did, and yeah, so I think I've got it back, the love of paint, and to actually love the paint itself and to enjoy what it does do. because I have the tendency to overthink stuff and things go sour, get overworked, and I'm painting over really good elements which I should be leaving. And like I said earlier, you know, I think it takes a lot of confidence in yourself just to leave it alone. I'll just give my brushes a clean so they don't turn solid.